You are watching WPTV, award-winning college television.
Welcome back to the desk. The NBA season is already heating up, and here to break things down on the hardwood is Andrew Ballistreri, Phritz Napoleon, Tyler Cooper, and Bijan Pulley. The Warriors traveled to Denver on Wednesday night to take on the Nuggets in a clash of the Titans early on in the season. The Nuggets ended up winning 108-105. Andrew, take us through this game.
We're going to take a look at the highlights in these clash of Titans in this one. Nikola Jokic, the man who should have won MVP, we'll see him here in the third quarters where we're going to start it off. Nuggets up by 4, doing a little jab step and just pulling up. That's too easy for Jokic. Here we see Jokic backing him down, going to dish this one out, bring it back inside, and just bigger body, man. I mean, just absolutely bullying dudes in the paint is what he does. But here comes Steph Curry. Warriors down by 2 in the fourth quarter. Steph pulling that one from deep. Bang, bang. You know what he does? Just ka-chow on that one, as we like to say in this place, Marc. And here's Nikola Jokic, 5 minutes left in the fourth. Tie game here at 95. Another bully ball drop step, and he gets right inside for the easy bucket. Jokic had a great game in this one. And here we see just 20 seconds left. Warriors down by 5. Here's Curry for 3. Bang! Down by 2 still. 15 seconds left in this one. Warriors have the ball just down by 2 after Jokic missed his free throws. Here's Curry going down the lane with the floater, and it doesn't go, and the ball is out on the Warriors. Just 5 seconds left. Curry got the shot he wanted wide open, just off the cusp. And unfortunately for the Warriors, the Nuggets are going to take this one, as we'll take a look at the stats from this game. Nuggets improved to 8-1. Warriors fall to 6-3, 108-105. Warriors actually out-rebounded the Nuggets 49-45 in this one as well. And if we take a look at the assists, the Nuggets just a little bit more, 24-21. And field goal percentage, they were nearly identical, just 44.6 for the Nuggets, 43 for the Lakers. And also something else to note, Klay Thompson missed a game-tying shot at the end of regulation that was not shown in that highlight package.
Yeah, I mean, another great win for the reigning champs there. But Andrew, what's been the key for the Nuggets winning that one?
It absolutely has to be Kentavious Caldwell-Pope's defense in this game. He was on Curry all night, and he played absolutely phenomenally on him. Held Curry to just 23 points. And listen, that sounds like a lot, but it's the lowest point total for Curry in this season. All of his field goals came off of three-pointers. And no matter how good you guard the chef, he's going to still be cooking at some point. Overall, great game for KCP, though.
Absolutely. Tyler, you know, we just saw the Nuggets take the win there. What do you think was the biggest reason they got it?
Yeah, it's got to be the play of the big fella Jokic. He had 35 points and grabbed 10 rebounds, and he worked tirelessly in and out of the paint, and he shot well from the mid-range, creating shots for himself and, over the contested Warriors defenders. And, he also got Michael Porter Jr. involved, too. He did it all.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Michael Porter Jr., Phritz, I think I know what your answer to this one is. You're a big fan of him, I know that. So who do you think, what was the biggest reason they win this one?
Of course, Michael never swing the rock Porter. Look, when you have such an effective playmaker, one thing that definitely helps them be more effective is having a spot-on shooter, and that's what Michael Porter Jr. provided for them this game. He had about three-pointers in this game and really helped space the floor and allowing Jokic to be more effective in the paint and have that freedom. Because, look, you can't double team someone like Jokic when you have a shooter like Michael Porter Jr. and KCP as well, providing that defense. But he's a pretty good sniper as well, so that really helped them win this game.
How many assists did Michael Porter Jr. have?
None.
Exactly.
And I like that.
Exactly. Never swing the rock. Bijan, over to you. What was the biggest reason for the Nuggets winning this one?
I got to talk about Reggie Jackson stepping up. He had 20.6 assists to 0 turnovers while shooting 47% from the field on 17 attempts. And he shot 42% from deep on 7 attempts. And he had 10 of his 20 points in the fourth quarter, only missing 2 of his 6 shot attempts, stepping up when the Nuggets needed it down stretch, hitting big shots.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Nuggets have been, to no one's surprise, a really, really good team coming off their NBA championship win. But while there have been a lot of positively surprising teams, there have been a lot of negatively surprising ones too. Bijan, keeping it with you, who do you think is the biggest disappointment in the NBA right now?
I got to go with the Memphis Grizzlies. Sorry, Marc. But they have the worst record in the NBA, the record 1-7. They have the worst offensive rating with, I believe, 104.5. And they have, no playmaking on this roster. Little to none, to be honest. Marcus Smart is the only guy averaging 5 assists per game. The next guy closest to Desmond Bain was 4, barely 4. So the lack of playmaking is is making their half-court offense less effective because you can't get into your sets effectively. Then you force tough shots off the dribble. It's just overall bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you lose a player like John Morant and then, Steven Adams as well. It's going to end up in you not being a good overall team. But Phritz, moving over to you, who do you think is the biggest disappointment in the NBA this season?
Yeah, I'm going to go over to the Eastern Conference with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Look, they're off to a 3-5 start at the bottom of the conference. I definitely expected them to be a lot more competitive to start this year. Darius Garland, even though he missed a couple of games to start the season, he definitely took a step back, only averaging 17 points a game when he was at 21 last year. I mean, Evan Mobley did take a small step offensively, and Donovan Mitchell is still playing up to the potential that he has last year, but I definitely think if they want to get back to that fourth seed to be a major player in the Eastern Conference, Darius Garland is going to have to step up his game and provide that 1-2 punch, because other than him and Donovan Mitchell, they don't have much scorers on that team, so he's going to need to improve his productivity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Cleveland Cavaliers were a big surprise last year, even though they did have Donovan Mitchell. It was surprising to see how far they ended up going. But Tyler, over to you. Who do you think is the most disappointing team?
Yeah, I got to go with the Chicago Bulls, man. They're looking like the bum Bulls over here, like not the Chicago Bulls.
Chicago Bulls.
I mean, yeah, they're not scoring the ball at an efficient rate right now at all, and they have like the big three. They look like the mid three right now. DeRozan, Lamar, what am I, football? Not Jokic, what am I saying right now? Vucevic, Levine, and DeMar are the three on the Chicago Bulls. But they're the only ones that are making the impact right now on the Bulls on the offensive side. Nobody else can score the basketball. That's a problem.
And it seems like those three can't even do it at a very high rate. But
No.
Bally, moving over to you, your biggest disappointment in the NBA this season.
Coop's making me sweat over here. I'm starting to feel like him. I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Lakers, man. They're just not off to a hot start. They're 3-5 right now and took a very, very bad loss to the Rockets the other night. And at this point, it feels like LeBron needs to play 40 minutes a night if they want a single chance of winning the game. And also, the thing to note, three-point shooting been atrocious, shooting just 29% as a team. LeBron and D'Lo look awful. Austin Reeves looks actually even worse than those two from deep. But, something to note, a lot of players around this league are off to very bad starts and a lot of teams off to bad starts. So who knows? They should be able to turn it around.
I mean, you play 82 games in a season. We've only gone through 9. So we're not making any judgments on players just yet. But, I mean, for the Lakers, LeBron and shooters, it's easy. Just surround LeBron with shooters. But moving on from disappointing teams to really impressive rookies, this Rookie of the Year race is looking like it could be one for the ages, with Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren off to phenomenal starts to their careers. Tyler, take us through both of the seasons.
Yeah,
of these
let's
players.
take a look at both of those stats. Wemby's got 29 minutes per game to Chet's 29.8. Wemby's got 18.8 points per game. Chet's got 16.8. Rebounds per game is 8.5 for Wemby. Chet has got 7.9 rebounds and blocks per game for Wemby is 2.4 to 2.5 for Chet.
Yeah, so, I mean, pretty even stats there, but I want to start over with you, Tyler. Who do you think ends up taking the Rookie of the Year award?
Yeah, I gotta say Wemby here because if you look at in the first few weeks in the NBA, he's already joining elite company and joining David Robertson for the most, his 38 points with that double-double against the Suns. Man, that was impressive, and he's really making a future for himself in the Spurs again with the Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That transition from Europe has been just really easy for him. But Andrew, who do you think wins Rookie of the Year?
I'm going to go with the Thunder with Chet Holmgren on this one. And, something that's good about Rookie of the Year, it's not necessarily a popularity contest like something like the MVP is. But, something else, people don't want to see Chet win because, he was technically a rookie last year when he was drafted, but he had the injuries and everything. Something that I think is going to help Chet a lot is, he had these NBA trainers, this NBA staff. He's practicing with other players that are in the NBA. And, his stats aren't nearly as good as Wemby's, maybe in the points and rebounds category. He's shooting better across the board than Wemby, and he's averaging more blocks per game and steals per game. So I definitely think this is going to be a race for the ages, but I think Chet comes out on top.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, out for the entire season with, I believe, a Lisfranc foot injury last year. But Bijan, over to you. Who do you think takes Rookie of the Year?
I got to go with Wemby, man. Listen, both him and Chet have been really good rim protectors. Even though Chet, like Bally brought up, has better shooting percentages right now, Wemby's being asked to be the number 1, while Chet, he's the number 2 in OKC, and he has better talent around him with Shea, J-Dub, Giddey, and Isaiah Joe, and all those other good role players. While the Spurs, no Devin Vassell this past week, And the Spurs are still in the middle of the rebound, while OKC is towards the edge of it, coming out of it. And plus, Rookie of the Year is not really about which player has the better record. It's about individual stats. And also, I disagree with Bally. It is a popularity contest, similar to LeBron and Carmelo in 03. Carmelo might have had better stats, but LeBron's LeBron. He has the more popularity.
Well, we've still got a ways to go until that gets announced. But Phritz, who do you think ends up taking it at the end of the year?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Wemby. And piggybacking off of what BJ said, I think it's definitely going to come behind the media. I mean, Wemby has the media machine behind him,
Absolutely.
100%. Right?
Okay.
I mean, I feel like they've already self-crowned him as the next face of the NBA. Every time you see a game from him, they're advertising him as the face of the NBA, you know? So I feel like that's going to add into, that's going to factor in the fact that he's going to win. And I think that he's just going to finish with better statistics overall. I mean, like was mentioned before, Chet is sitting behind Shea. He's not the primary offensive scorer, but I think that Wemby is going to be able to take over more games, right? His teammates are going to feed him the ball a lot more, so I think that's going to factor into him winning the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, those two players off to great starts to their season and careers, but unfortunately, we have to talk about a team that's not off to a great start, and it's the New York Knicks. Not off to the hottest start the season, and a big reason for that is the play, if you can call it that, from power forward Julius Randle. Phritz, take us through the season that the big man's having.
Yeah, he's just off to a really horrible start right now, averaging 16.5 points per game. His rebounds are solid, 11 points, but it's good to have a lot of rebounds when you're chasing your own shots that you're chucking up, right? 31% for the field, just abysmal. 3-point percentage, he might as well just stop shooting completely. 25%. He's going to build a new MSG stadium by the time he's done with this season. It's not looking really good this year.
All those bricks.
All of them.
But Phritz, you know, it's just Randall's not playing well. I don't know what it is, but hopefully you can tell us. What do you think the reason for Randall's poor play is?
I think it's just him not understanding his role. I think Julius Randle needs to look in the mirror and realize that this is Jalen Brunson's team. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And when you really look at it and really look at the stats, he's probably the third best player on the team right now because RJ Barrett definitely took a step up with his productivity and his being more efficient from the field. Even looking at his body language, right? Jalen Brunson had 45 points, shot to end the game, and Julius Randle shrugged his shoulders and just walked down the end of the court when he was 5 for 20. He's shooting tour dates out there. Really needs to just clear it all the way up. But yeah, he needs to come to Jesus moment with himself, realize that Jalen Brunson's the best player on that team, and he's no longer the star.
Absolutely. Bijan, what do you think is the reason for Randle just... I don't even know how to describe what he's doing out there.
It's the poor shot selection. Sometimes he just forces bad shots, whether that's shooting a heavily contested jumper, whether there's two people over him, or shooting another heavily contested jumper over when someone is wide open in the same possession too. Crazy. But 2 days ago, according to Sin Energy Sports, he was averaging 0.61 points per possession on 19 possessions per game in the half court, which ranked dead last across the NBA. You know how bad you have to be to rank dead last across the NBA? Can't even average 1 point per possession? Terrible.
Yikes. Yeah, just not a good season, start of the season for Julius Randle here. Andrew, you're our resident Knicks supporter. Hoorah. Go New York, go New York, go. What's happening with Julius Randle out there?
This is an absolute lack of effort out of this guy. A guy that's supposed to be a superstar on this team, supposed to be, you know, your number one, your number two option. And listen, he looks a lot better the last 2 games, okay? He's looked a lot better. His efficiency has been a lot better, but he's not shown any effort in the first couple of games this year. Phritz mentioned, Brunson had a phenomenal game last week. Scores 45 points, takes the last shot, misses it. And, Randle just shrugs his shoulders and he walks back on defense. He's been super slow getting back on defense. He's not setting screens. He's not rolling out of screens when he sets them. And he just looks sluggish altogether. And, he did get an offseason surgery. So, I want to blame part of it on that. But you're playing in New York City. New York is the hardest place to play in sports, whether you're good or bad. You are going to face the pressure of New York. And Randle obviously cannot handle it. The New York Knicks absolutely need to trade him.
Yeah, and he had a solid season last year, helping lead the Knicks to the playoffs. But Tyler, over to you. Close us out.
Yeah.
What's happening with Randle?
Yeah, this kind of sums up all what you guys were saying. He's not being a team player right now. His shooting, we know his numbers are absolutely terrible. He's only shooting 29.9% from the floor. And like Bally said, with his effort, I was watching a highlight of this guy. He's like literally walking down the court.
Can you even call it a highlight?
I don't
That's more
even
of a
know.
low light.
But yeah, like,
He has a
and
lot of
like,
those.
it's not fair to New York. It's not fair to the team. You know, he's just not showing up. You know, he's not playing good basketball. He's not making smart decisions. You know, it's not fair. He's not being a team player.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm hoping for the sake of New York City and all the Knicks fans that he gets his act together and starts playing at least half the way he did last year. But don't forget to follow us at SportsDeskWP for updates and more. Thank you to all the cast and crew, and a big shout out to our studio manager, Al Clarke, from Studio B in Hamilton Hall. And for everyone here at the desk, I'm Marc Brandt. Join us next time here on WPTV.